skips it to Bear in the corner. Bear, step back, a whistle, and a double dribble is going to be called.
Welcome to the premiere of the Double Dribble right here on The Roar. I'm Bryant, Dacus.
And I'm Tucker Maxwell. And here we talk about everything NBA. And since we're located in Memphis, we got to start with the Memphis Grizzlies. Got to, man. They're having a breakout season. Possibly going to be the 1 seed. It's getting a little bleak, but it looked that way for a while. They were super hot. The Suns are kind of running away.
Yeah.
Ja Morant is having an MVP type year. He won't get it because, I don't know. I think
What do you think, it's age?
I think it's his age.
Yeah.
I think if he was a little bit younger, or a little bit older, he would get more nods for it. But he's coming into his own. Desmond Bane is just having an absolute monster year.
Desmond Bane was a great addition to the team.
Yes.
I don't want to get too off subject. I know we're talking about Ja right now, but Desmond Bane, I mean, when the Grizzlies drafted him, I had high hopes. I don't think my hopes were this high this quick.
Oh, me neither. I've been shocked, and he's just been a sniper from the three-point line, and I didn't get that impression from him coming into the league. But he's just developed into a sniper, and Jaren Jackson is having a big year again.
Yeah.
Him and Ja are kind of a 1-2 punch, and he kind of started slow, but he's really picking up some steam lately. I love the addition of Steven Adams. Like, he's just a fan favorite, Aquaman himself.
What I love about Steven Adams is he really opens up the offense. You know, he doesn't. I love Jonas. I thought he was great here, but Jonas needed his shots, and that's Steven Adams doesn't need his shots. Steven Adams is very fine with, I'll get rebounds and I'll get it back out to Ja or to Desmond or somebody like that. He really just does the dirty work, and I think that's why so many Grizzlies fans have gravitated to him so early.
Yeah, he's just a walking tank. He's just out there setting screens for people and knocking players over. He's literally probably the toughest guy in the NBA.
What was it? It was MLK Day when he picked up and just, who was it that he picked up? I can't even remember now. They were playing the Bulls, and that was fun. When he did that, I knew Memphis was going to love him.
Yeah.
He was going to be a fan favorite immediately.
Absolutely, man. I think if I had to pick anyone to if there was a boxing or an MMA just tournament
just with NBA guys?
Just NBA guys, I'm picking Steven Adams all day. The Kiwi, he just seems like someone that would do that. And another player I've been super impressed with, high flyer himself, Zaire Williams.
Oh, yeah.
That dude is a beast. He's got bunnies for days. I mean, Tyus Jones has been killing it. I mean, you're never going to – the team is just gelling, and so many contributions from so many places.
Well, and with Zaire, I remember when on draft night when there were a lot of names thrown out. Zaire was not one of the names thrown out of guys that the Grizzlies could get or would get. And when they picked him, I know a lot of people were upset about it. A lot of people were outraged. They thought they could get a better player. But the thing about Zaire Williams that I don't think a lot of people talk about is his season last year at Stanford was not like a lot of players. I mean, that Stanford team never played a single game in their home gym because of COVID. They missed, I think, like a third of the season because of COVID. He was out with injuries, with COVID. So it was not, and when you look back at his college stats, I don't think that correctly reflects the type of player he was at Stanford. But to come in and to immediately do what he's done so far, I mean, I don't think you could have asked for a better pick at what they could have gotten.
No, absolutely not. If anything, you guys got to go to a game, whether you live in Memphis or not, and you will at least witness one Zaire Williams massive dunk, whether it's an alley-oop or off the dribble. I mean, it's just so much fun to watch. And, of course, you're going to get some Ja dunks.
Of course.
I mean, absolute tank. So, Bryant, what do you think about their playoff chances / chances to make it to the finals? Because as we know, here in this city, it's never really happened for us.
Right.
But I just don't see a big roadblock team in the way.
I mean,
in the West.
And I feel like, I forgot what team I was talking about the other day, and I kept saying, I didn't expect this to happen, but it keeps happening. I feel the same way with the Grizzlies. I didn't expect them to be sitting here right now on March 22nd in the second seed with they're 9 games back. I think it'll be tough to overtake the Suns. But, with a real chance to lock up that number 2 seed, I didn't think I'd be saying that back in October. And so I don't want to sit here and say there's no way they can get to the finals, because they could. I do think the Suns would be a tough opponent. I think if Golden State gets healthy, that could be a tough opponent. But, when you talk about the Suns have been there. They were there last year. They have those veterans that have been there. And I just want to see this Grizzlies team, when they get to the playoffs, when they kind of face that adversity. I know they went last year. They made it to the first round. That was awesome. But when you get deep into it, when you're playing second round, when you're playing the Western Conference Finals, what is this team going to do when you're playing 7-game series against probably the Phoenix Suns or maybe the Golden State Warriors?
Yeah, I think that as much as we would love it, you got players on the Suns that have been to the finals last year. If we're talking about the Warriors, we got NBA champions just floating around the team. I think a successful playoff run for them would be to make it past the first round, make it into the semis, and hopefully the conference finals, but just ultimately get their feet wet in playoff scenarios, play the big guys in 7-game series, grit and grind their way through adversity, and hopefully not injuries.
Yeah.
But I think there's a small chance, because I think the difference for us is, or not us, I should be unbiased, but I am biased because I'm from Memphis. But I think the difference for the Grizzlies is our star player is one of the most fearless players I've seen come out of the league since Kobe.
Yeah.
You can't say that about a lot of guys. And when you have that fearlessness, you're not afraid to lose. He's not afraid of anyone in the NBA. He's not worried about that. He sees when he goes up against Steph Curry and the Warriors, he brings his best game. He's there to just absolutely demolish them. And I think that that's an intangible you can't teach, and something that gives us a little bit of chance to possibly get to the finals.
Yeah, and I think, everybody knows the Ja Morant story. You don't have to be from Memphis to know about, playing in a back gym and a coach is back there getting concessions and sees them and recruits them to Murray and all that. I think he's kept that edge of I'm the underdog. People don't believe in me, and that's obviously helped him. There's no way that this guy plays with that much energy and that much. It's almost he's angry all the time. He goes the way he attacks the rim. It's like he's angry all the time. I think he just feels like he has something to prove. My question is still with these injuries. He's going into – he's facing guys that are twice as big as he is when it comes to weight and stuff like that. What do you think about – do you think he's – because that's – who was it? I think Colin Cowherd made this argument was, we've seen these guards before. We've seen the Derrick Roses, the Russell Westbrooks, but their longevity of being a high-level, entertaining player is only a couple years before these injuries start to catch up with them. What are your thoughts on something like that?
Well – I would have to disagree with Colin there, because the difference, and listen, I grew up here. I had season tickets in 2008 to the University of Memphis when Derrick Rose played there. I was a huge Derrick Rose guy. Still love him to death. But the difference is Ja's basketball IQ transcends his athleticism compared to the other athletic guards we've seen. It's so much fun to watch him jump out of the gym.
Oh, yeah.
But he could transition so easily into a Chris Paul type player. He doesn't need that. He could be a Steve Nash or a Chris Paul. He could still carry a team without being super athletic. And I think that's the difference where you see these other guys lose their athleticism. We'll get into Russell later, but now that he can't fly out of the gym necessarily, we'll get into that later, Bryant.
Well, and I think it just speaks a lot to the type of player and the type of competitor Ja Morant is, just because, we saw rookie year, he could not hit a three to save his life. His three-point shooting was atrocious at times. But he's worked on it. He's gotten better. And now, I am comfortable with him taking a deep three, which rookie year, if he even attempted a three, I was going, oh, no, don't shoot that. But now he can take threes, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah, that's just a testament to him wanting to improve his game. I think just the three ball is and obviously him getting more comfortable. But that's where you see him jump up from an 18 to 19 points per game player, and now he's jumping up to almost a 28 because now he's burying some 3 balls. He's shooting a good percentage. And, you know, those 3 balls help.
Oh, yeah.
They help a lot. So, yeah, I think it's just a testament to him and the team wanting to improve. I think he's hungry to be the best player in the league. He wants to come from a small school. He wants to come from a disadvantaged way of playing and be the best player. So, I don't know. I think Grizzlies fans just got really fortunate that we didn't land Zion Williams.
Oh, yeah. and speaking of Zion, I mean, he's not even going to come back this season.
No, he's not.
I mean, what if you're a Pelicans fan, what are you thinking right now?
I'm thinking it sucks that we got the number 1 pick. You had to pick him just in case.
You had to.
You had to. I'm sorry, Pelicans fans.
But I mean,
I wouldn't have, because there's so much to be said about durability.
Yeah.
If you're telling me this dude, I mean, it's just human biology and anatomy. Yeah. Zion's 300 pounds, 6'6", and he moves like a track star.
Yeah.
It's just
done that up.
He'll never be healthy. And then once he loses that peak athleticism, he becomes like a really kind of crappy version of Charles Barkley. But like not the good version.
Right.
Not the grinder. He just becomes, I don't know what he becomes, but yeah, sorry, Pelicans
he becomes
fans.
a player.
But we're just happy here in Memphis that John Morant landed here.
But like if you're the Pelicans, because I mean, we've heard the rumors and we've heard the talk about how he's not happy in New Orleans. He wants to get out. I mean, we're almost getting to the point where our team's going to want to trade for Zion. I mean, obviously, you got to think there will be teams just because of first overall pick, the amount of attention he gets on social media and everything, what his potential could be if he's ever healthy. But then you've got to look at he's never on the court.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you, there are teams that would do it.
Oh, there's definitely teams that would do it.
His second season was actually really solid.
Yeah.
Really solid. He didn't make all the games, but he made about 70 to 80% of the games, which is pretty normal for an NBA player. I mean, injuries happen.
Yeah.
Not sitting out 2 years like he has, but he had a really good second season, which was essentially his rookie season, basically. And he just, he has that potential, and teams will take a chance on that. Like, who's to say he can't get healthy and then never has another injury again? Yeah. And then you're the team that missed out.
Yeah.
And it would be good to get him while his stock is low.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if
right now his stock's low.
If I'm a team like, the Magic or something,
I'll
take a flyer on Zion because it'd be great. Like you said, if I trade for him, he's injured, and then, I mean, obviously, they're not going to trade for him while he's injured, but he comes back. The Pelicans are like, all right, we got to deal him somewhere. Magic say, okay, we'll take him, and then he turns into what everyone thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
Then you're just sitting there, and if you're the Magic, you're thrilled.
Yeah, if you're the Magic, you're just playing with house money.
Yeah.
Because what do you have to lose?
Exactly.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
But at the same time, I just think I don't see it. I don't see it. You can't, because if you take away his athleticism, what is he?
Not much.
Exactly. And everything he's hurting right now, his feet, that takes a toll on you. His feet and his knees.
But can we talk just for a second about that not even that draft class, just those 3 guys that came from Duke?
Yeah.
I mean, who are you, like, after, what are we now, 4 years from that draft? 3, 4? Something around there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like,
3, probably.
Who do you think is the best NBA player from that group of 3? Zion, R.J. Barrett, and Cam Reddish.
I don't know. I think R.J. Barrett's been having a great year.
Yeah.
I think it's tough to judge with the Knicks because me and you are in our 20s and they've just been kind of garbage our whole lives.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen in games that I've watched,
He's averaging 19.6 points and 5 rebounds this year.
Yeah, he's having a super solid year. I'm taking that over sitting on the sidelines. Yeah. Actually, not even sitting on the sidelines, sitting at home. That Zion's doing. So I'm going to have to go with RJ Barrett, and I think just his length and size, he seems like he's slowly progressing, which is good for longevity.
Yeah.
He didn't come out just guns blazing.
No.
But what do you think?
I mean, I'd probably say RJ, which is it's I shouldn't say it's hilarious, but it's so interesting because RJ came out of high school as the number 1 player in the class. But nobody was talking about him because everybody was talking about Zion. Then it almost flip-flop. Well, it does flip-flop. Zion's the number 1 overall pick, and RJ's taking number 3. And now you're kind of looking back on it, and if you're talking about production over these last 3.5, 4 years, RJ's been the more productive player.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have to agree. And you're listening.
Maple Mamba.
Hey, you're listening to the Double Dribble Radio with Bryant, Dacus, and Tucker Maxwell. This is what we got to get into. This is, I think, just the story of the year so far. I mean, it's faded in. Actually, you know what? It is the story of the year because I just keep seeing it, memes everywhere, and it's the Lakers.
What a story.
And they absolutely shot themselves in the foot, I believe, with this Russell Westbrook trade. I mean, they traded 3 young, great players. Not great, but good, solid players with Kyle Kuzma, KCP, and Montrezl Harrell, and
a number 22 overall pick.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. We're talking about the NBA. But listen, I just think that they would have been so much better with those 3 guys. Mm-hmm. Even if you got the Russell Westbrook you thought you were going to get, it's comparable. It's comparable. But Russell has just been abysmal.
It's not been good. And my thing was, when all of these trades and signings went down, is I get it. You know, LeBron, his ultimate goal is to win an NBA championship. That's everybody's goal in the NBA. But if I'm, and you're kind of, if you're the front office for the Lakers, your hands are kind of tied when you're working with LeBron because, I mean, LeBron gets what he wants to get.
Le GM.
Yeah. And so, I mean, if I'm sitting there on the front office and you're coming up to me saying, hey, I want to trade for Russell Westbrook, who, I mean, is 33 years old. Oh, hey, also I want to sign Carmelo Anthony. And let's give up all of our draft picks and trade for these guys so that we can, I can have all my boys here and we can maybe win a championship. I guess that sounds good, but what about the future?
No.
If you're the front office, that future's gone. And so then you're just banking on, okay, this is going to work. LeBron knows what he's doing. And usually LeBron does know what he's doing, I would say. But I don't think anybody thought that what is happening with Russell Westbrook right now was going to happen.
Well, I'll say this about Le GM.
Le GM.
And Le Coach.
Le Coach. Le everything.
Le everything. Like. I haven't seen.
You're gonna make some people mad with the Le GM.
Oh, whatever. They can be mad and hit me up on Twitter. But from what I've seen since my lifetime is you need legs to win an NBA championship. Yes, you need your established stars. You can bring in some vets, but the whole team can't be vets.
No.
You need legs. You need young legs to be out there running the floor. I mean, dude, if you can't keep up, teams are going to walk all over you with their offense. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
And they just have straight veterans, which to me was a huge mistake, giving away young, energetic players.
Well, and that's another thing is with these guys and their age. I mean, and even LeBron. I mean, we've seen LeBron for the past probably 3 or 4 years. He's just, I don't want to go out and say he's injury prone, but he always comes down with something that kind of keeps him out for a couple weeks, or when they just figure the season's over the rest of the year. But, I mean, when you've got LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, I mean, one of those guys is going to go down. probably more than one of those guys. You're not going to be able to go through a whole season when you're playing back-to-backs, when you're playing 3 games in a week, especially when you get to playoff time. I just don't think those guys are going to ever be able to hold up. And that's what I was always thinking when they made these signings. Like, how are these guys going to make up or hold up when we get to when we get to the playoffs, when we get to second round, when we're playing, you're traveling one day and then you play 2 games after that and then you travel again. I mean, that's a lot for these kind of older legs and, older bodies to have to work through. And I think we're kind of seeing that as what was sold as we're going to bring all these veterans, these guys that have been there before. It sounds good, but it's just not coming to fruition.
I just don't see how it sounds good.
Well,
just from my perspective, if I'm the GM,
from the GM, coach, it doesn't sound good at all.
If I'm the coach, I'm like, hey, listen, let's look at these teams that have won the championships. Yes, they had their stars, but we're talking with pieces all around, deep pieces that can run and be healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have a team there and players there to win. If the players aren't playing because they need rest or they're injured, they have a knee sprain because they're 38 years old.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it didn't make sense to me either, Bryant. But LeBron's having a good year.
LeBron's having a great year. I mean, 30-8. I mean, LeBron never seems to cease to amaze me when it comes to his production at his age, even though I'll just go out and say it, I'm not the biggest LeBron fan, I know a lot of people who they were Cleveland fans and then they were Miami Heat fans and now they're LA Lakers fans, and I say, man, you really travel a lot, and they say, well, LeBron's on that team, so I got to be a fan. Whatever. I'm not like that. He's fine. I don't have a problem with him, but to be 37 years old and to be averaging 30 points in the National Basketball Association is something special.
Yeah, and he has, you mentioned him being injury-prone the last few years. Obviously, he's the most durable player of all time. Sure. He just has so many miles on him that now it's starting to catch up with him. And he spends millions of dollars a year on his body.
Oh, yeah.
But he's played 54 games this year, which is pretty great for averaging 30 points on 8 and 6. I mean,
when Anthony Davis, who is
26 PER still,
almost 8 years younger than him, Anthony Davis is, and has only played 37.
I mean, Anthony Davis is a walking injury too. That's the thing. You have to include Anthony Davis is in his 20s, but you have to kind of include.
But he's always injured.
You have to include him in the old guys. Yeah. His body breaks down like an old guy.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, they even traded away. Why am I blanking on this?
I don't know.
What's the white boy's name that is bald? Plays for the Bulls
Caruso.
Now. Caruso. Dude, Caruso's got game, though.
He's got game. He's doing his thing up in Chicago now.
I mean, everyone, all their young guys, they just dipped out on him. So what do you? They're going to make the play-in. I don't see any threats from the other teams. Do you think that this team can make it past the play-in and into the top 6 possibly?
I don't know. I mean, I've really liked what I've seen out of this past month or so from the Timberwolves. And if they're still there at that 7 seed, I think they stay at the 7. I think that's when you're starting to talk about what are we looking at for the 8th seed. And if we get the Clippers and the Lakers in the final play-in game to see who makes the 8th seed, must-see TV. Perfect.
That's crazy.
Exactly. So, and at that point, we've seen the Clippers. They have also had some injuries with their stars. I think it'd be a good game. I'll give the edge to the Clippers, but just because of what I've seen with the Lakers this year, I just haven't been impressed at all. But I don't know. I would love to see that. Now that I'm looking at the standings, if it was Clippers, Lakers, I'd be really excited. But I think the biggest thing we got that we haven't talked about yet when it comes to the Lakers, Westbrook. Came out, what was it, last week?
Sorry, Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, Westbrook.
No disrespect.
I'm having a lot of fun over here.
Super disrespect.
On Basketball Reference, it has all the players' nicknames under their name. And so I'm having a lot of fun, like, seeing these names. But on what Russell Westbrook, it doesn't say Westbrook on there. It says the Brody, Russ, Beastbrook, which I've never heard that one. That one's new to me, and Mr. Triple Double. I think they need to update it and say Westbrook. Do you have a problem with him having a problem with people calling him Westbrook?
I don't have a problem with him having a problem. Mm-hmm. I'd have a problem too if I had this misconception of myself as someone that drains shots.
Right.
But God, I've seen so many Russell Westbrook shots hit the literal top of the backboard, if not over the backboard. And if he's shooting from the corner, could be behind the entire basket, hitting the people that mop the floor. I mean, golly. And I don't want to be a hater, and I know, listen, I'm not an NBA player. I'm sitting here analyzing.
Yeah.
We always have to preface this because people will come at you.
White dude. I don't know nothing about the NBA.
Chilling. But I knew he would never win a championship ever. Yeah. I knew.
Well, that's why they brought him in. This was supposed to be his chance.
But dude, you had your chance in Houston. You had your chance in OKC when you had two other MVPs on your team. Even though James Harden wasn't that,
right?
Which James Harden will never win an NBA championship either. He's too worried about going to the explicit club.
You're not wrong.
But, yeah, I mean, his turnover rate this year is awful. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's actually, if you put a compilation together of his turnovers and throw some, like, Dumb and Dumber music over it, it's actually hilarious to watch. You get those little sound effects that sound like someone falling on a banana. Mm-hmm. That's exactly, it's just so funny.
You know, and that's kind of the thing about it. I mean, he's never been great with the ball. He's always kind of been turnover prone. I think, for one, we're not seeing as many triple doubles this year. I think that, and him being on the Lakers, just how big the name Los Angeles Lakers, everyone knows it. Everyone's watching their game. Every single game they play seems to be on national TV. They're always in the spotlight. I think that is also kind of bringing this to a bigger stage. Is like, okay, well, maybe we didn't see his turnovers before because all we heard about, we didn't see him every night. He was up in Washington. We don't get whatever. I don't even know what the TV station is that they do Washington Wizards games on, but we're not watching that every night. We're seeing the Lakers every night, so we're seeing these turnovers every night. We're seeing these awful shots. I don't think these awful shots came when he was in Washington, but I don't think we're seeing all this as much, but we're seeing it now, and I think that's making it bigger. My biggest problem with it, Tucker, we're both in our early-ish 20s. We know how social media works. We know that if you say something and you point out the problem that's happening on social media, it doesn't kill the problem. It makes it bigger.
Yeah.
And so when Russell Westbrook goes out and says, I have a problem with people calling me Westbrook.
It's going to make it worse.
It's going to make it worse. You added, gasoline to the fire. It's just going to be and I've seen it more and more where people will go to games and they'll be sitting courtside and they're like, hey, Russell Westbrook. And he'll be like, what'd you just call me? What'd you just say to me? He's like, Westbrook. And I'm like, I get it. I wouldn't want people calling me Westbrook if I'm in a slump either. But at the same time, maybe understand that the problem isn't going to stop by you calling it out. Because just that's what social media, I wish that's what the world was, but it's not. Social media is a terrible place.
No, so Twitter is
the worst.
Gosh, it's just.
But I'm always on it. I say it's the worst. I say that I hate it, but every time I pick up my phone, I immediately go to Twitter.
I love it. I just don't get involved. I just watch from afar.
You're an outsider looking at
it. No, but I mean his response from reporters and stuff has always been hilarious to me. I don't know. It is what it is, but I mean, I think the story here is that pretty much every season of his career, he's probably averaged a plus minus of 5.
Yeah.
And 4 to 5, mm-hmm. And right now, I mean, he's a liability on the course. He's actually negative for one of the first times in his career. He's at a minus 1.7. So if you're supposed to be a star, mm-hmm. star players got a 7 to 10 plus minus.
Yeah.
I mean, they're contributing. They are the better player on the court. And right now you're a liability on the court. So I think if you're Russell, you got to swallow your medicine, stop talking to the media, stop being upset about it, and just try to get better.
Well, and I wish I had it in front of me. I'm sure I could find it somewhere. I just don't have it in front of me right now. But do you think some of the problem is that he isn't the main focus of the offense anymore? I mean, everywhere he's been, not that short time when he was with James Harden, but in Washington, definitely. I mean, he brought the ball up. He kind of initiated the offense.
Yeah.
And the offense was really set up around him and obviously Bradley Beal. But now you've got, him, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. Obviously, Anthony Davis isn't playing right now, but Carmelo Anthony. I mean, you've got Malik Monk. You've got all these guys that, they want to get the ball to. And it's not as much, hey, let me do what I do. It's, hey, let's work the ball around, and when I get the ball, I need to do something with it because all these people are calling me Westbrook, and I got to show these people that I still got it. I think it's kind of getting to the point where it's like I have to prove it that I'm not Russell Westbrook, and he's just making it worse.
Yeah, it's I mean, he has the point guard on his team, so it seems like, I mean, obviously he's not just it's not as bad as like a deer in headlights.
No.
But when he gets the ball, he's trying to do too much with it because he's not always having the ball. So when he gets the ball, I mean, we know Russell's mind is just like, come on. He just seems like that kind of guy. And so he's just trying to do too much when he gets the ball, and ultimately trying to do too much hurts your team. You got to play within the flow of the offense. Hey, Russ, if you're not the main guy, I mean, you decided you wanted to play with point guard.
Point guard.
So you have to accept yourself in that role. You're not gonna average a triple double. You're not gonna average 28 points a game. I mean, just be happy with your contribution will be great with almost no turnovers, 15 points. Try to get some offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to make these. The turnovers are coming from him trying to get his assist numbers up.
Yeah.
To me, it's always seemed like he's a stat patter.
Yeah.
He's not as good as what his stats look like on paper.
Yeah.
I mean, you're like purposely trying to get these stats, which ultimately, like, whatever. But that's where I've seen passes coming from places they shouldn't be coming from. And I don't know if that's the reason or if he's trying to help the team win.
Yeah.
But it's also weird that you're not nearly as good as someone like LeBron James, and you have way more triple doubles than him in such a faster time.
Yeah.
That just, to me, screams like you're padding your stats for legacy.
Yeah. No, I think you're definitely onto something. Speaking of LeBron, I don't know if you saw this the other day. He is now second all-time leading scorer in the NBA behind Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Do you remember when, and this is just a random, I don't know why, but it's just random, when he became number 3?
Yeah.
Do you remember what happened around that day?
No.
The day after, if it wasn't the day after, it was 2 days after. It might have been the day after, was the death of Kobe Bryant.
Oh, yeah. Well, did he surpass Kobe?
Yeah. Because Kobe was 3, he was 4. He passes Kobe.
Yeah, right.
And then Kobe died like the day after.
I don't know,
2 days
man.
after.
I tell you what, Bryant, that whole time period for me was just a whirlwind with Kobe, and then next thing you know, COVID. Next thing you know, I'm crying about Kobe and COVID.
At the same time.
At the same time. That was, man, why'd you have to put me in the dumps like that?
I'm so sorry.
I always try to forget about it. But, yeah. And then I thought he handled that really well, coming into like the Lakers franchise, and he was pretty respectful about like Kobe is like that Laker, but.
Well, I mean, really, the whole legacy of the
Yeah.
Lakers. I mean, you can go down the list of all the great Lakers, and I think you're right. I think he did. Sometimes I think some people could say, not me, but maybe me, could say that LeBron likes himself some LeBron. You know, he's a me guy, not a we guy.
He said, "I'm the best player in the world."
Yeah.
But when he said that, it didn't hit the same as if MJ said it.
Right.
It hit from an insecurity standpoint. But go on. Sorry.
That's interesting. But, like, you know, I do think that, and I'm not even really, this isn't even really just about LeBron. This is about him. Man, if I was the best player in the NBA at a specific time and I went to a franchise, I'd be like, yeah, I'm that guy. I'm here. We're going to win a bunch of championships, yada, yada, yada. But he went in there and he was like, yeah, you know, this is the Lakers. It's a history, you know? So,
yeah.
I think you're right. I think he did handle it really well. But
yeah, second all time.
Second all time.
Do you have the stat up? How far are we off of Kareem?
So I'm not a math guy, but Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has 38,387 points. LeBron James currently is at 36,985.
He'll pass that.
So
yeah, so he'll be
roughly 1,000 something. I'll just round it up and say if he gets 2,000 more points, he definitely gets it.
Yeah, so he'll be there. He'll be the all-time leading scorer. I mean, his claim to his legacy and to the GOAT conversation will absolutely be, no one has ever been that good for that long.
Yeah.
His durability.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's been playing, what year is it, 18 or 19? And he's been good since the start.
Yeah.
He's been good for 19 years.
I always love
That's
seeing
insane.
on like, it's usually on Twitter where they have like the videos of like, this is when LeBron this was the first video game LeBron James was in, and then it shows the progression. I'm like, good Lord, you've been in the league for a long time.
Side note, I saw a really hilarious one. To bring up Derrick Rose again, it was like, this is how long Derrick Rose was good, and it was a picture of him next to the side by side of the same year in like NBA 2K11.
Yeah, no, I saw that video.
Yeah,
I think I saw that like yesterday.
Speaking of that, those NBA game graphics are insane these days.
Crazy.
I thought it was a real picture of LeBron.
What do you play it on?
PC actually.
Really?
Yeah, boy,
guy.
a PC gamer.
Interesting. What other games do you play on?
I play almost 100% Rocket League.
Really? So
yeah.
You're good at Rocket League.
Real good at Rocket League. Thousands of hours.
Was Rocket League originally a PC game?
I believe it originally came out on PS4.
Okay.
But
I've played it on PS4.
They also had a, like games have a beta, like before it comes out.
Right.
So I think they released that first on PS4, and then they had a beta on PC. But why are we getting so far off topic?
Well, because
it is a sports game. It is a sport. I'm good at it. I'm in the top like 0.1% of all players in the world. So
really,
yeah,
in Rocket League,
yeah,
you play like competitive, like tournaments or something.
I played for the school.
Oh, you're on the esports team.
I was.
Do we have an esports team?
We do have an esports team. Shout out to the esports team. U of M esports. Well, we were playing Rocket League, but
obviously
it was a very small team.
Right.
There was only 3 of us that could really play. One guy got suspended from school.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, so we just kind of disbanded that. They got League of Legends, probably Fortnite.
Interesting. My buddy's a big League of Legends guy. He tried to get me into it, and it's a little difficult.
We need a NBA 2K team.
Hey, if y'all get an NBA 2K team, holla at me. While we're talking about LeBron, I want to touch on another thing for LeBron, but I brought up his nicknames. I'm enjoying this. King James.
Yeah, the King.
LBJ. I've heard those two. Bron. I love calling LeBron James Bron. Come on, Bron. The Chosen One. That's interesting. I haven't heard that one. The Little Emperor.
That one's on his back, Bryant. He's got the Chosen One tattooed across his back.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that makes sense. The Little Emperor.
What?
I've never heard that one.
They should just call him Le GM and Le Point Guard.
The Akron Hammer.
Oh, God.
And L Train.
All right, none of those are his actual nicknames. His nicknames are obviously the Twitter ones.
Yeah.
With "let" in front of anything.
And then
it could be him on the computer, "le computer."
Oh, it could be anything. They have their fun with it. So, All-Star Weekend a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
LeBron said, first off, he said that he was open to going back to Cleveland, which I think he just said that because they were in Cleveland. But secondly, he said that he will play with his son.
No matter what.
No matter what. Money is not an issue. So he's basically saying, I'll go anywhere on a vet minimum and just to play with my son. I mean,
I don't think his son's going to make the league, but...
Well, here's what I think.
But
Conspiracy
I think
theory.
he could just because it's
Exactly.
LeBron's son.
I think with LeBron saying that, because, look, I'll be honest. LeBron's son's a fine player. He ranks, he's not like I think he's like a top 75 guy, like a 4-star. Definitely would not be a one and done.
He'll definitely be. He's a college scholarship player, but he's not a
100%.
one and done NBA draft.
I mean, look, he's a good player. He's a 4-star. He ranks right now 52 in the 247 composite nationally. So I mean, almost top 50 player. He's got offers from Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina. So I mean, this is a guy that's going to go to a high level.
He got
program.
offers from some of those schools before he even hit puberty.
But I think LeBron obviously knows that his time's coming to an end. I think Bronny James will be a one and done no matter what, which I think is a terrible decision.
I think they'll change the rule.
They might.
I think they'll change because they've already been thinking about it.
Which would be an even worse decision for Bronny James to go straight to the NBA.
Hey, why not? He's got his daddy.
Because here's the thing. He's going to play 1 year with Bron, and then what's after that? They're going to cut him. Here's what I think's going to happen. Okay, big conspiracy theory here. Okay, so either Bronny goes to the league for a year, or to the college for a year, and then goes to the league, or maybe they change the rules and he goes straight to the league, plays 1 year with Pops. They play. LeBron James announces he's going to retire. In the offseason, he also announces that he's become either the GM or the owner of an NBA franchise. And then what does he do? What's mission number 1 for the Cleveland Cavaliers that is now GM'd by LeBron James?
Let GM.
Sign Bronny James.
I think that would be the absolute epitome of nepotism that you have ever seen ever.
Could you see it?
I can't. I think that's just doing way too much. Hopefully, we don't have to. I'd like to just see Bronny just be good enough to make it on his own merit.
I don't think he is.
Yeah, I don't think he is either, but hopefully he is good enough to make it on his own merit, and you won't have to worry about that. I don't think he'll ever be a star.
LeBron James just
He's got
said
some bunnies, though.
So that his son would get drafted.
Oh, for sure.
Because anybody, I mean, if I'm, again, I'll go back to the Orlando Magic. If I'm the Orlando Magic and you're promising me that I'll get 1 year of LeBron James, I'm drafting Bronny James. Maybe not with the number 1 pick if I'm smart, not with the number 1 pick. But heck, with number like 6 or 7, I'll draft him.
Dude, if you're getting LeBron on a vet minimum and his son on a rookie salary, you're spending no money and you're selling out every game.
You're right, but are you going to waste a number 1 pick on that? Because what do you got after that? You got 1 year. You got a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't know if you can renegotiate. You're not going to be able to renegotiate your TV contract for that 1 year, but your ticket sales are going to blast through the roof for at least a year.
Yeah.
Listen, man. Listen, you guys are listening to the Double Dribble radio show here on U of M, The Roar. We got to move on a little bit because we got to talk about
the Akron Hammer.
No, not the Akron Hammer.
I'm gonna start calling him that from now on.
I think we need to talk about the overall playoff picture right now. Which teams are looking hot? Which teams are falling off? I know that you're big on the Celtics right now.
Yeah.
What are you seeing from them that's getting you so excited?
Well, the Celtics, man. So you remember, I don't want to say the very beginning of the season, but early in the season, I mean, they just did not have it. You know, they were looking very questionable as a real contender in the East. I don't know what happened, but around middle of January, they started turning it on and looking right here. After January 8th, they've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. And it's March 22nd.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I mean, they have the players. We all know what those guys can do. Jaylen Brown, Tatum, obviously. We know what they have. We know the talent they have. Obviously, a first-year coach. I think that might have been some of the problem. But, I mean, right now, I think they're the team to beat in the East.
Do you?
I do.
Wow. Over the Bucks? Over the...
I do.
okay, I think
I'm saying right now they're the team to be. I think they're the hottest team maybe in the NBA right now.
I think they are too, and I think one thing that's really important that they have, if you just look at their lineup, okay, I don't know if I'm just super biased, but I love a 6'6", 6'7" shooting forward that's just a bucket.
Yeah.
I think that's just how I grew up watching. I mean, Kobe was my favorite player.
Love Kobe.
It just reminds me of that. You know, Devin Booker reminds me of that. You know, of course, Jason Tatum, who we're talking about. Yeah. I mean, he's a walking bucket. I love that. Jaylen Brown, just a super solid number 2 guy. Could be number 1 on plenty nights.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and I think they have Al Horford again, who's just a veteran presence. And you got Marcus Smart, who's an Energizer Bunny defensive mastermind. And, I really like their lineup, but I got to tell you, dude, like, I just don't see them. I don't know. The Bucks are just solid, man.
Bucks are good.
The Bucks are solid, and
well, they've been there before. I mean, they're defending finals champions. You know.
Listen, of course, and for some reason, I don't know. It's just like Milwaukee, so we always forget about them. They're Milwaukee. If it was the same exact team under the Bulls banner or the Lakers banner, we'd be like, that's the team to beat, dude. But it's the Bucks. Okay, sorry to anyone from Milwaukee, but also, I think that the 76ers, if James Harden could just really hone in on team-winning basketball, not going to the explicit club, eating right, laying off the wine.
Right.
Man, Joel Embiid is my MVP. So I think, Joel Embiid is my MVP. They got James Harden. They got solid players. They got Danny Green, NBA champion on multiple teams. And of course, we're just absolutely not saying anything about the Heat, who are the number 1 seed.
And they've been kind of like
they've been kind of dogging it too.
Good, but like they've just been like nobody's talking about them.
I just don't think they have the Okay, so Bryant, you can agree with me or disagree with me. I think in the NBA you have to have someone that can win a game by themselves.
Yeah. And someone who can take over.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler showed that in the finals a couple years ago. I think Jimmy's actually had a decline since then, and I hate to say that because I'm a big Jimmy Butler guy.
Yeah.
If you can't tell, I love guys that are just mean muggers, grinders.
Yeah.
Say what they will. That's kind of why I've been dubbed as a LeBron hater, because it just never. It seems like he's never scoring the important. He scores all these points, but he's never scoring the important points.
Right.
The fourth quarter. I like to see your fourth quarter stats jump up. If you're scoring 14 in the fourth, I love that.
Man.
You're putting the team on your back when they needed you. So, but I don't think the Heat have that player. But having said that, they have a super solid team. I love Tyler Hero.
Yeah.
I love Bam. So I don't know. The East for me is tough, but you're saying Celtics maybe?
I'm saying Celtics maybe. I mean, obviously, like you said, I mean, the Bucks are going to give them trouble. If the 76ers are hitting, if James Harden is playing well, if Joel Embiid is healthy, obviously that's a tough. I mean, I really like the East playoffs this year, if I'm being honest. Chicago, they're real banged up right now. If they get healthy, preseason, I projected them to finish second in the conference.
But they can be nasty.
Exactly, if they're healthy.
Because Levine and DeRozan, those are two guys.
And they got Lonzo.
They can, but those two guys can walk down the court. Like they don't. DeRozan doesn't have to play team basketball. He can say, "Give me the ball."
Yep.
I'm literally. There's an 80 to 90% chance I'm about to hit a fadeaway jumper. That dude is literally. I've heard players interviewed that talk about DeRozan. They're like, this dude like literally can't miss from mid range. Like even if it doesn't matter how well you guard him, if you guard him, like you basically have to foul him for him to miss. So like you know how important that is in the waning moments. So and that's what playoffs is all about because the defense goes up, you're grinding the game, and at the end of the day, you need someone that's gonna be there to hit buckets.
Yeah. Well, I think they have several who could do that.
Yeah.
On the Bulls. Like I said, I really like the East this year. I think it's there are probably 4 or 5 teams that if they came out of the East and made it to the finals, I would not be surprised at all.
Yeah.
Which is way. I mean, if you told me that 5 years ago, I'd tell you you're crazy.
Yeah.
And I feel like not even 5 years ago, we were always sitting here going, okay, the West is the tough conference, the East is easy. We know who's going to come out of the East every single year. But this year, I don't think you have that.
The pendulum swings.
Yeah.
The East, for so many years, the West was so good, so they're losing all the Western Conference games.
Yeah.
They're obtaining draft picks. They're obtaining players. So the pendulum just swung, and now I think the East is the better conference. It's really, honestly, these top 5 teams that are just lethal. But even if you look down the line, I mean, dude, like the Nets could do something.
Oh yeah.
And the Raptors are great.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. I mean, the
Hawks can be good.
This play-in,
dude. Didn't
group.
the Hawks make the conference finals 2 years ago?
Yeah. But I mean, who do you like out of that? I mean, you've got, like you just said, you have Toronto, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Atlanta.
I like Brooklyn to get out, dude. Yeah. Kevin Durant, easy money sniper, 35. K Durant, dude, come on.
My question though is Kyrie gonna be able to play home games by then?
Yeah, I think they changed in the. I've actually was pretty big on that at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
On some other stuff, and I think they are changing that. I mean, everywhere is pretty much lightening up.
Well, they changed it once, and it looked like he was gonna play, and then the mayor or whoever was like, well. You don't have to be vaccinated to go into places, but if it's your work, you have to be vaccinated. It was like something weird, and so you saw that shot.
Well, that
from
makes sense.
Yeah, I mean it's
no, that doesn't make any
exactly,
sense.
It's dumb. And so, but
yes or no?
You saw that. I don't know if you saw the shot a week ago or so, where Kyrie Irving is sitting courtside at the Brooklyn Nets game, no mask, nothing.
But not playing, not being able to play.
Can't play. And then at halftime, he went into the locker room to talk to his teammates, his friends, his peers.
Yeah.
And the Nets ended up getting fined because he was back there unvaccinated.
I just don't. I don't know what the whole plan was from the beginning, letting him play away games.
Exactly.
Like you're traveling with the team.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Exactly. And
it literally doesn't matter.
But the fact that he can sit courtside. And it's not a problem, not an issue for him to sit courtside. But being on the court running around with his teammates is an issue.
I don't know, dude. I don't
make a lot of sense.
Don't leave it up to me to judge what mayors and state officials and all them do with all that, because none of it makes any sense.
Let them have it. That's their job, not mine.
Yeah, whatever, dude. But hopefully Kyrie gets to play just so, they can be competitive.
Yeah, he can play road games, so maybe you can win.
Maybe you have 4 road games and you win all those.
Well, I mean, if they're in the play-in, if they can win the play-in, they won't have home court advantage in the playoffs. So maybe that's what they're trying to do. Maybe they're just
I can't believe they're even in the
psychology,
play-in, dude. I thought they were going to win the East through the first 20 games of the year.
I thought so too.
But I mean, it's super close. They're only 9 games behind. So I mean, it's
of the
the
one
of the one.
Yeah, the East is pretty bunched up.
Yeah, the Grizzlies are 9 games behind the
one.
Suns.
Yeah,
and
the 6th seed in the East is only 6 games behind the 1 seed.
Yeah, it's just what it is. It's just the bad teams in the West are really bad.
Yeah,
that's what it is. And so what's your thoughts on the West? I mean, I think the Warriors are gonna be tough.
Warriors be tough
if they completely get healthy. I was really happy to see Clay come back. I was always a big Clay guy. Mm-hmm. I've never been a Warriors hater. I mean, it's like people are hating on them so hard, dude. They drafted Steph and Clay and Draymond. Like, why are you gonna hate on them drafting and developing players?
Yeah. Like, I mean, it
just seems like they were stacked, but dude, they drafted them.
Exactly. And that's what I think. A lot of the argument back when KD was, and I love KD. KD.
Wow, they signed a free agent.
Yeah, but it's like KD, he was his ring chasing. Like, I get that, whatever, cool. But you can't say that about everyone else on that roster.
Yeah.
Everyone else was just development. It was just, hey, we see a guy at Davidson who we like, let's go draft him. Heck. Draymond Green was like he was in the second round pick and turns out to be this great player that ends up winning multiple NBA championships. And I think Draymond's the guy that can recite every single player that was taken in front of him. So, it's just great front office work. I think we're starting to see that. Obviously, me and you are getting kind of a first-hand look at it being here in Memphis. We're kind of seeing that with what the Grizzlies have been able to do the past couple years with their front office and building the team that they've built. But yeah, I mean, I get the hate because, when you're on top, everyone likes to hate.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's hard to hate a team like that.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. I think that's both of our picks here. So for that, I mean, you wish it was the Grizzlies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anyone else really contending in the West.
So here's the question, because we're getting short on time.
We are.
So, question. If you had to pick right now on March 22nd, we won't revisit this weekly, but we'll revisit it until we get to playoffs. Your pick to make it out of the East and your pick to make it out of the West right now on March 22nd.
Man, well, okay, so right now the Warriors aren't healthy. Okay, we have to pick right now. No ifs, ands, or buts. No asterisks.
No. This guy might come back from injury.
They are gonna be there.
Who is they?
Warriors.
The Warriors.
Warriors out of the West. I think, Steph is coming into his last couple years of being really good, but he's still MVP caliber.
Yeah.
So I got Warriors coming out of the West.
Okay.
And man, even though Joel Embiid is my MVP,
yeah, he's mine too. I don't know if I said that.
I think
earlier.
the Bucks.
I'm right there with you.
I think Bucks come out of the East. I think we got a Bucks.
So you think
Warriors.
the Bucks make it back to the NBA? Do they win it again? Do we get back to back like I'm Drake?
I think Warriors win.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the Suns again out of the West, and I'm gonna go with the. You know what? I was so high on them earlier. I'm gonna go with the Celtics.
Suns Celtics.
What
that sounds like a
finals.
good finals I would
That
like
sounds
to
like a
watch.
good
I'd
finals.
love to see Devin Booker versus Jason Tatum. That'd be
matchup.
fire. I want to
Good
see.
matchup.
I want to see Chris Paul get a ring. I was harping on this last year. I wanted him to win the ring. He deserves it, dude. He's been one of the best players for so long.
Yeah.
He's not mouthy. He's a respectful guy.
Yeah.
I want to see him get a ring. He deserves it.
Oh yeah.
I don't think he will. So who do you think's winning that in yours? You asked me. I said Warriors. So yeah, we got two completely different finals.
I think the Suns are gonna actually do it this year.
All right. I can't argue with that. With that at all. I mean, it's just right there in front of you. You got Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton. Bada bing, bada boom, bada boom. Like, that's a little powerhouse trio right there. They're got the best record in the league by far. I mean, dude, they're 30-8 at home and 28-6 away. It doesn't matter where they're playing.
Yeah.
So maybe
Good team.
Maybe we're just looking over them, and me and you just can't remember the Suns like winning anything.
Yeah.
I mean, they did when we were
so
kids.
young,
yeah.
Before we get out of here, I do have to mention though. Did you see who finally retired from the NBA yesterday?
Who was that?
Jamal Crawford.
Oh yeah, no, I did see that on Twitter. He
Crossover.
said goodbye to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Jamal was so much fun to watch over all of his years in Minnesota and Atlanta. I mean, he's played for a bunch of different teams, but those are the ones I remember him crossing people up, making them fall down. Shout out to Jamal Crawford. I think he had a great career. He's a walking bucket. He's got handles on a rope. So,
Would you like to guess how many teams he played for?
God, probably 8, 7, 8.
Close.
What is it?
It's 9.
Wow, even more.
So yeah, more. But not. JC is his only nickname, in case you're curious.
Dude, you and your nicknames. We got to get on this
But
for the next show.
I don't understand why. A little sidebar. His Twitter is J Crossover. His Instagram is Jamal Crossover. Why is his nickname not Crossover?
It should just be crossover.
It should just be Crossover.
Maybe someone has it.
Get with it, basketball reference.
Well, it looks like we've come to the end of our show, Mr. Bryant.
Flew
It was
by.
a great first episode here of the Double Dribble radio show on U of M, The Roar. Anything else you'd like to say before we head out?
No. I think we covered a lot today. I think we got a lot done for episode number uno.
Yep.
The premiere, the inaugural episode. It wouldn't be inaugural, though, would it?
No, it won't. It would be a premiere. But it was fun.
But it was fun.
It was fun. And thank you guys for listening. And make sure to keep revisiting U of M The Roar Radio.
Peace.
Peace.
Tuned into the University of Memphis Radio. I'm Alana Kennedy, and you're listening to The Roar.